like trains. I've got fond memories of being a kid and counting the number of cars as a train went rushing by. Gotta show some love to the OG Thomas the Tank Engine, and of course everyone's favorite children's book, The Little Engine That Could. The Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks is a game about trains, and that's essentially all I personally know about it. The game has Link, Zelda, and a train, and as far as I know, Spirit Tracks could just be retitled Train Simulator 2009. Hey everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of The Completionist, where we don't just beat the games, we complete them. Spirit Tracks is one of the last Zelda games that I have not completed for the channel. Ever since I completed the Phantom Hourglass, I have been interested in tackling the other Zelda DS game, especially because everyone tells me Spirit Tracks is much better than Phantom Hourglass. Let's see if I can fulfill my conductor dreams when I complete The Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks.
Yes! All glory goes to the winner!
The Legend of Zelda is one of those series that I love to death. I've played every game, completed almost all of them at this point, and I've even completed spin-off series like Triforce Heroes and Hyrule Warriors. I rarely have many negative thoughts about the Zelda series outside of the CDI games, because technically speaking, they aren't really Zelda games. Throughout my life, I have put hundreds to thousands of hours into Zelda games, and the most recent Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, accounts for a few hundred of them. Video coming soon. About 5 years ago, I completed The Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass for the show, and I had a pretty chill time with it. Because of the way it played, I was able to experience a game with a single hand, while also finding a whole bunch of other activities to do with my free hand. The game wasn't difficult to complete by any means, but it did require a bit more grinding than I would have liked. I gave it the rating of finish it, and I knew that one day I would have to move on to the next game in the series, The Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks. And today is that day. Spirit Tracks began development soon after Phantom Hourglass was released. Eiji Aonuma, the producer of Spirit Tracks and basically every other Zelda game, was inspired by a children's book that he was reading to his kids. The original hope was to pump out a sequel in the same way that Majora's Mask did when it came out so quickly after Ocarina of Time. However, due to a number of changes within the game, it took multiple years to be developed. Spirit Tracks takes place following Wind Waker and Phantom Hourglass, but roughly a century in the future. Long before the start of our game, an evil demon king named Malladus is causing chaos and destruction throughout the land. Some spirits known as Locomos gather up all their power and seal away Malladus in the Spirit Tower. Flash forward to the current day, and Link is graduating and becoming a full-fledged train engineer. He goes to Hyrule Castle to meet with Princess Zelda, who will be performing the graduation ceremony. After the ceremony, it is revealed that Zelda's chancellor, Cole, is actually a demon in disguise who is working to bring Malladus back. Zelda's body is stolen, leaving behind just her spirit, which can only be seen by a select few people. Link and Zelda will need to work together to restore the broken Spirit Tower, rebuild the Spirit Tracks around the country, and stop Malladus from returning to full power. The plot is very on brand for a Zelda title. Big Bad wants to rule the world, and Link needs to stop them. It's been working since the 80s, and I see no reason why it would stop working today. The big difference between this Zelda and every other Zelda is the train. We've had a number of different mounts before. We've got Epona starting in Ocarina of Time, we started sailing ships in Wind Waker, and we even became a mount ourselves in Twilight Princess. But Spirit Tracks takes the core idea of train and decides to make an entire world revolve around it. In Zelda 1, we got the hero of Hyrule. In Ocarina of Time, we had the hero of time. Now in Spirit Tracks, we have the hero of trains. I know this might sound small or silly, but it's actually pretty in line with other Zelda titles. For every hero of Hyrule, we will also get a hero of Minish. Each Zelda game crafts the world in such a way that you understand and buy into the stakes that have been created. I have no problem believing that this world is fully connected by train tracks, and that evil trains have the ability to one-shot me. I believe it, and I fear it. Spirit Tracks is full of characters that are charming and weird. Every time you interact with a mailbox, the mailman comes training in to deliver your message. I don't know how else to define this movement other than training. Maybe something like the choo-choo slide. The first time I saw it, it was very cute. Felt like a callback to the postman we've had in other Zelda games. As the game progressed though, I was pleading for this man to get a move on. Just move! Give me my letter and go! We've got Gorons and these cozy looking snow people. Every new town felt distinct and full of people that made my journey more interesting. My favorite town is this town you visit early on called Whittleton. I don't know why, but all the people in this town remind me of the photo guy from Wind Waker. It became headcanon for me that they are all descendants of him, and I understand. Photo guy can get it. The best character in the entire game though is actually Zelda. So many Zelda games have us hardly interacting with the titular princess, but not in Spirit Tracks. Early on, Zelda's spirit is removed from her body and she joins up as your Navi role in this game. After you meet Zelda, you spend the rest of the game with her. She'll give you tips and hints on where to go next and will offer commentary on events that are happening within the game. I really like having Zelda be such an integral part of this story. The connection between Link and Zelda has always been something I enjoyed, and Spirit Tracks has one of the best portrayals of their bond. All the environments feel fine at first. There's nothing really new here. We've got a forest realm, a snow realm, an ocean realm, a fire realm, etc. Just as I was getting bored with my current location, I'd unlock a new one that provided me with a completely different visual experience. It was great that in the snow realm, there were areas that were completely covered in snow, but as you got closer to the fire realm, the snow started to melt and you saw more grassy areas. When you open up the path in the ocean realm that leads you underwater, it was unexpected, but it was still a really cool moment. I don't want to knock the actual visuals of this game. You can only do so much with the original Nintendo DS, and this game looks as good as most of the other high-profile games. I did get some unfortunate slowdown when the game had too much going on at any given moment. Getting attacked by a bunch of tanks would cause the frame rate to plummet. The draw distance was pretty awful. Sometimes I'd approach a town and assume it had been completely destroyed, only for it to finally pop back into existence. The music is appropriately Zelda. It has fun overworld themes and anxiety-inducing battle themes. The sound effects are equally on point. The noises your weapons make are all instantly recognizable. The star of the show once again is the train. The sounds your spirit train makes are some of my favorite parts of this entire game. The little struggle sounds of it starting up, the screeching of the brakes when you have to make it stop, and the whistle you can blow at any time almost makes up for the little issues I have with the train itself. Now, I've really been avoiding saying too many negative things about Spirit Tracks, but I'm not trying to hide its flaws by any means. But instead, I want you all to understand that this game has some solid presentational elements to it. The visuals are cute and the art style choice makes it still look decent today. Where it starts to actually kind of break down, in my opinion, is the actual gameplay department. Let's start this off by talking about something that I have not talked about for a while in this video. The train. I hope you like it because you're going to be spending so much of your time conducting in it. The train is how you get from point A to B. The world is far too large for our tiny toon legs to cross it. At the same time, I feel like I maybe would have moved faster walking from location to location. The train controls are pretty easy to lock down. This apparatus on the right side of the screen gives us our 4 movement options: stop, reverse, go forward, and go forward, but faster. I can't accurately describe how slow the first speed is. Moving at that speed feels like watching paint dry, and not even one of the good paints. Something like an orange paint. The faster speed isn't that much better, but we'll make do with what we've got. The train moves through the world on Spirit Tracks. These tracks have been destroyed, so the places we can travel to at the start of the game are very limited. And throughout the game, you will restore these tracks, opening up new realms and areas to travel to. Each individual realm wasn't that bad to navigate through, but as the map started to balloon, I was realizing how long it would take for me to get from place to place. Some side missions had me moving from one end of the map to the complete opposite side. This would often take a handful of minutes, and I know that it doesn't sound like that much time, but that was just for one trip. Each main quest and side quest added up to a significant amount of time traveling on this train. Now, they do try and help out by introducing fast travel via the gates, but these gates were rarely useful. Each gate had a partner gate that it could access. So instead of entering a gate and choosing where to exit from, I needed to know where each gate would dump me out at. So many times I needed to go to the snow realm only for it to be faster for me to travel normally, rather than going out of my way to get to the correct warp gate. I wasn't kidding when I said this world was big, but it is also a world kind of devoid of life. This made traveling via train even worse. Occasionally, you would get attacked by pirates or wildlife and have to fend them off with your cannon, but this just felt like a nuisance instead of a way to make movement feel better. You could also blow up rocks in hopes of getting a few rupees, but that stopped being pretty fun early on. I suppose you could blow your whistle. Didn't really do anything, but if you hold it down long enough, the train feels like it's moving faster. It isn't, but it feels like it does. Now, all this sounds really harsh, but it is the worst part of the game by far to me. You spend so much time on the train that I couldn't help but get annoyed by it. Leaving the train is like removing shackles from my feet. Outside of the train, you will spend a significant amount of time inside of the Spirit Temple. The Spirit Temple is this game's version of the Temple of the Ocean King from Phantom Hourglass. A lot of folks had issues with this temple in Phantom Hourglass, and I didn't particularly enjoy it that much. However, the Spirit Temple is a huge upgrade. First things first, instead of having to go through every room every time you need to revisit this temple, you get to skip to the next set of rooms. This made each return trip faster and more unique. Each section of the tower was generally used as a way to show off the newest item you had just picked up. The first section you unlock has you taking advantage of the whirlwind, while the floors after that focus on utilizing the boomerang. They also removed the time restriction, which never felt like much of a difficult problem, but I was grateful that I didn't have to worry about completing the tower under a certain time limit. The other big mechanic introduced in the Spirit Tower was the Guardians. These appeared in Phantom Hourglass, but they were just obstacles you needed to avoid. Now, they're an integral part of the progressing in the tower. After stunning the Guardian, Zelda will take over, and Guardian Zelda will follow behind you. You can also independently move her around to assist with completing puzzles. Depending on the Guardian type you take over, Zelda will also have a special skill that can be used to help Link progress up the tower. Some Guardians have shields, and Link can be hoisted up and given a ride through lava, while other Guardians can teleport long distances. All of these changes make for a much more enjoyable reoccurring dungeon. The Spirit Temple is also centrally located and can be used as a hub to travel a bit faster between the different realms. It's great that they took an interesting but flawed concept from the previous game and made it a genuinely good part of this game. Beside the Spirit Temple, the other major dungeons are pretty solid as well. I will always enjoy going back and playing through a classic Zelda dungeon. I appreciate the direction that new Zeldas have taken the series, but going back to these dungeons will always have a special place in my heart. Each dungeon does the classic Zelda thing of introducing an item that is needed to progress throughout the dungeon. You'll find keys to open doors and have baddies to kill. I will say that I think the bosses in this game are all pretty good, and I think it is due to the DS. All of these fights take advantage of both screens, which makes the bosses feel really big. I think the one that sticks out to me the most is Kragma, the Lava Lord. This fight involves using your newly acquired bow to shoot glowing weak points on the boss. Now, the interesting mechanic is that in order to do that, you need to ride around on a minecart while he's trying to grab you. It was a really fun fight, and I enjoyed every other boss fight this game had to offer. But this game is so much more than just dungeons and long train rides. Every Zelda game has something you need to collect, and Spirit Tracks is no exception. Some of these things are things that we've seen before. Throughout your journey, you're gonna find hearts that will increase your overall health. This is one of those few Zeldas where you don't find heart pieces or pieces of heart, but full-blown big hearts. You can also find quiver and bong bag upgrades in the world, and we've seen these in most Zelda games before, but I will never say no to a capacity upgrade. You also have two big side quests for other people that you're going to want to keep track of throughout your journey. The first is for Bunny-O. Bunny-O runs the Rabbit Land Rescue and wants you to save all the bunnies in the land. While you are driving your train, you will see bunnies peeking their heads out over rocks. Blow up the rocks and you will start a quick mini game where you need to capture the rabbits before the time runs out. Sometimes this was super easy, and other times it felt downright impossible to catch these wabbits. The worst part was that when you failed to catch them, you would need to leave the screen you were on to get the rabbit to respawn. This meant that every failure meant I had even more time wasted driving on the train. Now, the second big side quest is filling out the stamp book for Nico. Nico wants to collect stamps from all of the places Link visits on his journey. Sometimes these stamp stations are out in the open, but other times you need to really search for their location. Finding all the bunnies and stamps wasn't that difficult. I just needed to keep it in mind throughout the entire game, making sure that no stone was left unturned. Now, the big final collectible are the Force Gems. At certain points in your journey, you can help out different NPCs that you'll meet in the game. This usually will require you either transporting a certain object to them, such as lumber or ice, or loading them up as a passenger on your train and bringing them to a brand new location. Performing this kind of gesture overwhelms them with gratitude and produces a Force Gem. These Force Gems give the best initial benefit possible. Each gem restores a part of the Spirit Tracks. Sometimes this will lead to a new hidden dungeon for you to explore, and sometimes it will open up a shortcut making your journey easier to progress through. The Force Gems were my absolute favorite collectible to find. It sort of reminded me of Majora's Mask and fulfilling side quests for all the characters in your bomb journal. My time spent in Spirit Tracks was up and down. I enjoyed most of my time when I was walking around and exploring, even if it still was a bit weird to control everything with the stylus. I really enjoyed all the dungeons and all of the game's collectibles. It was really just everything having to do with the train that ironically kind of bummed me out. So I've completed every dungeon, got every collectible, and defeated the final boss. New Hyrule is saved. What do I get for all my efforts, and what else is there for me to do? So for finding every bunny and getting every stamp, you will unlock a couple of Swordmaster Scrolls. These will upgrade your combat abilities, giving you a better spin attack and making it so that your sword can shoot out a beam while at full health. You know, the classic upgrades. You also get an alternative outfit from Nico when you have half of the stamps. This is your little train engineer outfit. It's cute, but to me, it doesn't beat the classic green. Now, one of the things I did not really touch on, but took me quite a long time to finish, was getting all of the train parts. Much like in Phantom Hourglass, you can upgrade your train with different cosmetics. These will provide you with a few extra hits in combat. During the game, I didn't really buy any of these cosmetics. Not because I thought they looked bad, but because I never wanted to go out of my way to go back and forth to buy them the location that they're at. Each train part requires a certain amount of treasures to purchase. These treasures can be found in pots and chests, as well as rewards for completing mini games. The unfortunate truth is the amount of treasure you need is obscene to unlock every train piece. Other than getting the decked out gold train, I feel like you can just skip going for a lot of this and not miss anything with regards to the experience. Getting the correct treasures needed to buy certain train parts was entirely a crapshoot. I might need a palace dish, but instead I just got another Goron Amber. The final thing I wanted to do in this game was achieve the rank of Captain from the Guard Captain minigame. This required me to hit recruits over 900 times before I got hit 3 times. Now this is absolutely not worth it. It's difficult, it's tedious, and the reward is minimal. If you ever choose to decide to complete The Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks for the DS, skip over this entirely. Save your time, save your life. Most of the completion elements are just not worth it. Even the rewards from finding the stamps and rabbits won't make or break your run. If you want to do everything this game has to offer, you've got a full plate ahead of you. However, if you just want to play through a nice compact Zelda adventure, this game would deliver on that. Spirit Tracks took me roughly 47 hours to complete, and the majority of that was spent either grinding for treasure or traveling slowly on the train. I still had an overall pretty good time though. I know this game has a reputation, but I think it is worth checking out. So, with that in mind, guys, I give this game my completionist rating of finish it. Thanks for watching, and hey, if you like the show, you want to support us, click that like button and tell me what your favorite fictional train is in the comments down below. See you guys next week.